Okay, this is episode 2, and I've titled it Spiritual Heart Condition. I'll start by reading from the fourth page in my book, titled Because of You, and I'll start off with this poem that I wrote and continue on into chapter 1. Ever since I was a child, I possessed a warrior spirit. So often told I would amount to nothing, I sought to surpass all things. No one believed or gave me directions on what road to take, so I learned to listen to the whispers of the wind as they guided me along secret pathways that twisted and turned, bruised and burned the depth of my being. This is unique, I noticed. Unique to me in ways that only speak to I inside, the life inside yearning to be free. I traveled, pursuing a peace I had yet to understand had always been within me. In foreigner in both space and time, I found no rest. External forces unrelenting as the pressures mounted, wanting to escape the reality of such confusion. I set my journey aside for another soul to pick up. It became too much, too weak to reach, too distant to touch. You must not give up. I had to recall the lessons I learned. Where I am is not where I want to be. Lesson 1, each journey unique. Lesson 2, know your worth. Lesson 3, speak and believe. Lesson 4, persist in all things. At that moment, I knew I had reached the highest level of elevation. Vividly conscious of heightened senses, I extended my arm, taking hold of what was rightfully mine, the freedom to be me. Okay. It continues to go into the book. So, intelligent, well-spoken, charismatic, generous, strong, funny, thoughtful, nice, all qualities within me that people have complimented by pointing out mostly in my late 20s and on. But these qualities didn't manifest overnight. It took some painful experiences to morph into the man I am today. I'm still growing. But thank God I'm not any of the negative or horrific labels that family and childhood friends stamped me with early on in life. Not in my heart where it matters. But for years, I had given into these opinions and ideas from others in sad attempts to please them. Other times, it was about survival. And other times, I had tried convincing myself that I was the bad guy people said I was due to being so confused and exhausted trying to discover more of my identity. At these confused stages, I had no awareness of how a son can be visited by the sins of his father or even forefathers. Just like a newborn baby can carry on a virus or physical ailment passed down from a parent, so too the spiritual ailments were transferable. I hadn't been taught these lessons in school, at home, by friends, or in the streets where I grew up. I learned this the most difficult ways possible, experiences. Not everyone learns from their experiences or pain, but as for me, I saw a dire need in responding to these innumerable events of abnormality. Choosing to open myself up to examine and study why these overwhelming feelings and experiences existed within and around me. I chose to look inside myself with the help of one true friend. Okay, now I'll begin chapter 1. I was introduced to the Islamic faith at the age of 10 or so. My aunt and uncle would take me, my cousins, and sisters to the mosque on Howard Street on the north side of Akron, Ohio. The teachings in the mosque were so different from what I had been taught in the Baptist church growing up. In hindsight, it was like God was showing me the two covenants taught in the Bible, Hagar and Sarah. The Nation of Islam even taught us karate as kids. The principles of self-discipline, unity, family, and love was definitely something that was completely absent from my upbringing and much needed. However, my aunt and uncle never modeled or carried on these lessons in their household. In fact, it was a total opposite in all the houses I would temporarily reside in. Physical and sexual abuse, violence, and extreme dysfunction was the norm. My biological mother had given up on me and my 2 older sisters when I was born. My grandmother ended up taking custody of us when I was around 2. Her household was filled with chaos and screams from the violence she inflicted on us. I learned to make her alcoholic beverages by the time I was 7. Either extra dry gin in a glass with a slice of lemon and 1 cold Busch beer. just to produce and caution after work. It didn't take long for me to start running away as I got older. The fear of her eventually killing me with a frying pan to the head was motivation in my feet to run and run fast. At some point within my first several years living with her, she had allowed other family members to move in with us on 995 Headline Street. A 3-bedroom house, sometimes holding 7 to 9 members, was suffocating to say the least. My grandmother had given birth to 9 children, including my mother, so there was never a shortage of family members in need of a temporary place to sleep. My aunts and uncles all bore children. Some had 3 to 5, and guess where they would sleep during their visit? Yep, right in the area I was given, the basement. The Police and Children's Services Board, CSB, were regular visitors to the house that kept a secret. It was odd because no matter how much my sisters and cousins would suffer abuse in that house, I was the only one who would muster up enough courage to actually tell the police whenever they take us away. The bruises, scars, and open wounds were evidence enough for them, I'm sure, but man, did I feel alone explaining to the social workers how afraid I felt returning there. The 80s crack epidemic really hit home. Most of my family, including my mom and dad, fell victim to the drug. So by the time I was born in 1984, my dad maybe had a few moments with me before drugs redirected his life. He lived a life of high crime, which landed him 6 prison numbers and on mental health medication before I turned 18. I would try to find love and comfort in the streets of Akron, Ohio. Avon Street was a nice working class neighborhood, but 7 streets over was where I first began selling the same drug that helped destroy my family, crack cocaine.